Hello traders, we're looking today at the best trading laptop out there for 2024. What do you need? Why do you need it? And also a few other bits and pieces such as the mouse, trading books and algo trading books. So depending on what you need and what you're looking for, this YouTube video is going to help you through all of that. So we're kicking off here with the Emerald Computers rugged laptop. That's got a quad-core 8-thread CPU, 16 gig of RAM and 512 SSD. It's got a reasonable sized screen, and as you can see, it's got corners that are quite sturdy, so that if you're out and about and you're on the road, that kind of thing, you drop things a lot, this could be a good option that's very economic in price. So we'll just scroll down a little bit about the item. It's $411. It's got great performance for the low end side of things. So what I did in the Amazon search for laptops, I selected some of the top tier selections such as your RAM, your cores, that kind of thing, your processors, just to make sure that it's going to run what we need. I have had a computer that cost around 200 or maybe less, and what I found was, even though I was only running MetaTrader 5 systems, it was really dropping the ball when it came to speed. So it was like running a slow VPS, one of those really low level VPS systems. And it's just really difficult to work with, terrible to code on because your brain's working faster than as fast as you type, and the letters come up and then you delete something and it hasn't quite gotten through all the requirements of deleting those characters, and then you start typing again and it's really slow and a challenge to work with. So you want something that's got a bit of pace. Those computers that are under, say, $400, this is probably the lowest level one that I'd be interested in if you're concerned about price. Now obviously I would say there's a few colors available, I'm not too sure, but you're going to want something with a bit of pace behind it, because if you're running at least one MetaTrader platform, and if you've got algorithms and expert advisors running in the background as well, it's really going to take its toll on a low cost computer. So as for low cost, this is probably the best option that I've come across so far. Middle of the range, we've got the HP 15-inch Full HD laptop. It's got the Intel i5 core, 8 gig of RAM, SSD, and it's just going to do what you need it to do. It's not going to be super slow, but it's not your cheapest end either. It looks very generic. It'd be okay for somebody taking it to business and that kind of thing. Do your other bits and pieces as well as running your trading platforms. This one would be good for anybody that's doing general business tasks. They've got plenty of reviews, reasonable reviews, a few 1 stars there, 62% 5 stars. So most people seem very happy, whereas the last one didn't have any reviews. So it's always a bit of a standout. It could be a new product, and that's why it is a low cost, and it looked quite sturdy. But if you're looking for something that's run of the mill, it's going to do what you need in terms of business and your trading and that kind of thing, the HP 15-inch is going to get you what you need. It's got 8 gig of RAM, which is pretty solid, and it's going to do the job at a price of $717. It's got some USB ports, which is important. Now this one's run of the mill, it's going to do everything you need. So we'll take a look at the next step up now. Without going too ballistic
$100 million
on a full gaming system that's going to connect to a high-speed server and all of that, you've got the MSI thin gaming laptop. So it's not going to weigh you down too much. My current laptop is very heavy. The cost was quite high, and it's very difficult to bring around and take on a plane and travel because it takes up so much weight, including the battery pack and that kind of thing. So you got to remember the battery pack on bigger laptops that are super fast, they give you this giant chunky box that's not really very travel friendly. You might as well have a PC just about. The MSI thin gaming laptop, it's got all your specs, 16 gig RAM, and it's going to have everything you need to run your games, run your algorithms, and trade multiple MT4 or MT5 platforms or other platforms if you're running them, such as NinjaTrader. So the MSI thin, this one's my pick because it's only got 45% 5-star rating, 32% 4-star. Now people are going to be judging it quite heavily on a gaming laptop The issue is when you're trying to run super high powered stuff without the battery plug in, everything slows right down. It doesn't matter what you do when it comes to a laptop, it's going to chew the juice and it's not going to perform as quickly as you want it to. So you want to make sure you're generally connected to power. It's got everything you need, and the best part is it costs around $1,000. So I'm just going to remove these. $999 on Amazon, and it just means that you'll be able to do everything you need to do, unless you're going for that super fast, high performance, high frequency trading methods where you also need to really think about your internet and that kind of thing. If that's what you're trying to do, a lot of people do simply run a VPS, because unless you're living right near the server that you need to be on, you're probably going to work with a VPS, a virtual private server, which is a computer that's situated right where you need it. It's super close, and they can run really strong internet to that to get you that high speed trading. As for your general computer usage, you're going to be able to code, you're going to be able to run multiple systems at once for your MetaTraders or your Ninjas, and you're going to be able to play games if you're a gamer as well. Obviously, it's a bit of a price jump. It's at least 2 times the price of the cheapest one, but you're going to be able to do a lot more on this computer if you use it to its full potential. Now, I like to use a mouse when I'm trading manually because it's a lot quicker. You're not going to accidentally tap the wrong part of the touchpad, and when you're typing, it's not going to interfere with what you're doing with your mouse. So I like to use a wired mouse, be able to plug it into the USB so that we're not going to worry about any Wi-Fi interruptions or Bluetooth interruptions that are going to disconnect the mouse, battery problems, that kind of thing. It's going to be much easier just to plug in the mouse when you need it and be able to trade, left click, all of that, super quick. What I find with the trackpad is it's a little bit volatile. Sometimes it doesn't work and doesn't move around as you need, and it can be a bit finicky. When you're trying to trade, it's fast paced. Sometimes there's really big money on the line, and you just don't want to be caught in a position where the mouse just isn't working. So I always have a mouse when I'm trading. If you don't care too much about what the mouse looks like or how it feels, this quiet wired mouse, it's only $10. Super easy. It's going to plug right in to your laptops or your desktop computers, and it's just going to work quite well. It's got 58% 5-star rating. It's just a mouse. It's not super exciting. It's just going to do the job. As compared with a trackpad, it could run into issues. If you've had a drink of water, you're mid-trade, and you've got a bit of condensation on your hands, sometimes that trackpad just won't work as you need it to. And trading does require your action at the right times. Now, if you like a bit of a fancier mouse, you are a gamer and you like to be super quick with how the mouse interacts with your computer, it's really going to be quite helpful to have a ergonomic wired gaming mouse. So I personally use the Razer Basilisk. It's got a little bit of an extra edge over here where your thumb can rest. It's got some side buttons, which are great for some of your gaming interactions. And obviously, if you do want to program them for certain reactions with your trading, you probably can. It's not something that I do. I believe there's gold wiring in these mice to actually make things happen quickly, very responsive, and it's nice to hold. It's got the cool lighting. It makes your computer area look kind of cool, and you can program the different lights and features as well. Price jump is substantial though. You're looking at about 8 times the price, so you're going from $9 to $71. But this is the mouse that I like to use personally. If you're into your gaming, into your fast-paced trading, this is what you're going to probably want, something like this. It says here that you need lithium-ion batteries. Perhaps I've got a different model. I don't actually use any batteries, but maybe they're also built into the mouse and you don't have to change them. There's a heap of different types here, but I've just gone sort of one of the cheaper ones of this ergonomic Razer Basilisk options. You can obviously go further if you want, but that's the one I use. I think it might even be this one here, but it's very quick, very responsive, and it reads the mouse pad very well. If you've come here to trade and you're asking the question, what laptop do I need? You probably also want to know a bit about what books you might want to read to get more experience in the trading scene. One of the best and most referenced books that I've come across is called Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas. You can get an audio book of this on Audible, I believe, as well. It's also really good to have the hard copy book so you can always refer back. It's really about understanding your edge in the market, understanding the concept of multiple trades, build up a portfolio and a certain outcome, rather than individual trades at once, banking everything on the one trade, which a lot of people, when they start off, they're really thinking trade by trade, but it's a series of trades that's going to make you a profitable trader long term or not. It's not the one-off wins. So trading in the zone is really good for your mindset, understanding the concept of discipline, building the confidence to develop your edge and train it over time rather than taking a hit. You take a loss and then you feel that loss, but it really works on your mindset when it comes to trading. Very important book for new traders and old traders alike if you haven't actually experienced this book yet. As you can see, 78% 5-star ratings. It is a really good book. Even if you just listen to it, I actually listened to this book over and over and over again when I first started trading, and it helped generate the mindset that is required to trade both manually from a mental perspective, but also builds an understanding around the importance of developing algorithms that repeat the same process over and over again and have the overall outcome of generating you an edge in the market. So that brings us to our next section, the algo trading books that I've currently got. It's the Expert Advisor Programming for MT5 or MetaTrader 5. If you are a good coder and you know MQL5 already, don't worry about it. But I've been coding and using MetaTrader or MQL5 for quite some time, and I've been coding at Expert Advisors, and it's just really good to have a reference book and understand the difference between your floats, how they're used in MetaTrader, your integers, your doubles, all that kind of thing, all the basics, as well as building the request modules for your trades and calling indicators and that kind of thing. So if you're really confident, you're really happy with your coding, it's not a big deal, but it does give you the ability to understand the MQL5 language a little easier. It's easier to read than some of the concepts that you see on the MQL5 website. I find some of those really confusing, whereas the book lays it out quite simply in a sense that I was able to understand it compared to the MQL5 pages, which doesn't make much sense to me generally, and I usually have to go to the forum to understand what's going on, or YouTube. So this was a really good book for me to just be able to reference when I need to code something in particular, like trailing stops or anything like that. It's a good reference to just be able to look if I have a mind blank and I can understand what I need to do to be able to do what I need to do. So trailing stops, setting stops to break even, calculating different profits or where the stop losses are on open positions, and obviously placing orders, reading the charts algorithmically, and much more. So really helpful book if you're not well versed in MQL5 already, and even then it's a good reference to be able to go back to if you're trying to just quickly code something up and you just have a mind blank. This one's a little bit more advanced. It's in a different language, but if you are aware of that and you're just looking for statistical methods for indicators and understanding how to predict markets in the future, it's a really good reference guide for how you might use particular indicators. If you're expecting MQL5 code, don't buy the book. It's not going to be in there. It's just to build you ideas of how to generate, for example, say market conditions, and understanding those market conditions and separators for bullish versus bearish or stagnant markets. This indicators guide using statistics and a concept of how you might consider coding them will be a really good way to develop your algorithmic knowledge and understanding of the markets as well. So this is something that I've read a little bit of already. I haven't read all the way through, but it's generated some concepts that are going to help me create at least one algorithm that's going to be better than what I've produced before. So in that sense, for $70 odd, it's going to be worthwhile for me. It's obviously up to you depending on if you've got your particular systems and strategies already and you're not looking to develop further, then don't worry about it. But if you want to understand how indicators could be statistically used to predict the future prices of financial markets, it's a really good book. The only issue, a lot of people do complain that it's in C++, but it is in the title, And that's why it's good to also know your own language a little bit better. It's about the concepts that's really important here. This one's got a 73% 5-star rating, which is pretty huge. I'm really looking forward to getting into this book, and I do have some more books on the way, but I don't want to review them until I've had a look through them. I hope this has been a helpful tutorial and guide and review. Most laptops will do what you need it to do unless you're looking to do something quite intensive. It's got a lot of computing power required, that kind of thing. Don't go super low, and make sure you've got the specs there. So you probably want 8 gig of RAM at least, and plenty of processors and cores, that kind of thing. Don't go too cheap, but you don't need something super expensive. Just keep an eye on the specs. If the specs are fairly standard and you don't want to be a gamer, or you don't need to run 100 algorithms all at once, you're going to get by okay with, say, the HP. But if you do want to run quite heavy gaming and multiple platforms and that kind of thing, you're probably going to want to step up to, for example, a gaming laptop. If you're planning on trading using algorithms and expert advisors, you may wish to use a VPS. A VPS is basically a computer that you can access from your own computer, and you basically log into the remote desktop connection and apply your algorithms to the MetaTrader or NinjaTrader in that remote computer, and it will run non-stop for you. It will be generally located close to your broker's server, so that it's going to be a far quicker method of placing your trades, and you don't have to keep your computer running non-stop. So that removes the issues of blackouts, heating or cooling for your laptop, and just having the equipment on all the time. It does take a bit of management. Every now and then you do have to jump in and make sure it's all up to date, but using a regular computer such as the low end, you would be able to connect to your remote VPS, log in, do the updates, and have your algorithm run based on the speeds and storage that is required. So rather than going out and buying a full-on laptop to run everything and keep it on non-stop, where you have to think about electricity and that sort of thing, you could always just simply use a VPS. Access to a VPS is in the link in the description as well. The great thing about the VPS for traders is that you can generally choose the location, and you want to try and base that on where your particular server for your broker is located, and that's going to make your trade execution far faster than having a fast computer, for example. When it comes to trade execution and VPS, you might see in the milliseconds for your MT5 platform, it'll be up around the 100 to 200, maybe even 300 milliseconds. But if you get a VPS located very close to your broker's server, it could bring the milliseconds right down to 5 or 10 milliseconds, which means a very big increase in terms of your execution speed. So it's not actually relating to the computer itself, it's more relating to the milliseconds of responsiveness to the server, which is in effect internet, and not really anything to do with the computer. It's just got to be able to run the general platforms and expert advisors that you place on it.